Some impressive sounding achievements there. Finally, back to Malmö for Mayor Reepalu. Your particular initiatives, please.
First of all, thank you for inviting me to come here. And Malmö is situated just opposite Copenhagen, so now you know where we are. We are a small city, 300,000 inhabitants only. Maybe start to just remind the marks that Mayor Bloomberg said. Cities occupy 3% of the land on the world. They use 75% of all the energy, and they emit 80% of all greenhouse gases on the world. That's important to have that in mind. Also, if you look upon it globally, 40% is emitted from buildings, 40% from transportation, 20% from industrial activity, including generating energy. And the cities are growing. The next remark, of course, during 1 hour, the inflow of energy to the Earth is equivalent with all the use of energy for all the humanity during 1 year. So renewable is about how we in a more direct way make use of the energy that comes from the sun. Looking upon my city, the city of Malmö, of course, we are working with it in the way, how are we building the houses? How are we planning the city? In what way are we refitting the city to making the buildings more sufficient? Like in Copenhagen, we have about 99% of all our buildings are connected to district heating. We introduced the district cooling about 10 years ago in the new areas. That means that we collect the heat from the sun in the summer in sun collectors, pump that down into the aquifer that is limestone. There we store our summer heat, like in a thermos bottle. And in the winter, we pump up that warm summer water and warm all our houses. At the same time, we pump down the cold winter water into the aquifer in other cold wells. And in the summer, when it's hot, then we pump up that cold water and use that as district cooling in all the houses. And the electricity we generate from wind generators, wind power generators. That makes it very efficient in a subarctic area, of course, like that. That is one important way how we change the way of using the buildings. Another part that is very important to discuss is, of course, how we take care of our waste, how we take care of the wastewater. You know, when we're talking about emission, we're always talking also about biodiversity, how we enhance a very much greener and nicer city with clean air and clean water. You know, when we have storm water, a lot of water, 100 millimeters coming in 1 hour, that's not for us. I know that is very little from your point of view, and we don't suffer from hurricanes. But when that water comes down, that makes flooding in our sewage water system. That means that untreated water goes out into the recipient. That made we to separate the stormwater. We have green roofs to keep the rainwater as long as possible on the roofs. There we have very nice flowers, lots of butterflies and birds' nests on the top of the roof instead. And kids say, look, you are building buildings here, and you just took the grass and put it on the top so all the animals could still exist when you made all these buildings here. So that's a very nice way of using it. That means that we don't have any flooding at all, because we take the storm water and use that in an open water system, creating ponds where we have water salamanders, frogs, and things like that, because biodiversity must be existing just in the city center, just where you are living. You must experience also the nature. That is very important for us. Mention the waste, the solid waste. We take care of that waste also. You know, 20 years ago, not on my backyard, no place for rats and seagulls here. So today we changed that over. From the solid waste, 650 kilos for every inhabitant in my city is collected. And that today, 4% goes to landfill. 4%. All the rest is recycled, reused, and regained energy out of it. 60% of our energy, electric energy, and for heating the houses, we get from the solid waste. Always, also with a sewage water treatment plan, we take out the organic waste. We don't make that to make soil out of it. We make biogas out of it. And the solid part goes to the incinerator, and the incinerator has almost no emission at all, no dioxin and things like that, because we solved that problem with that. That means also that we in that way get biogas. All our city buses are fueled by gas, half of them by biogas that we are producing from our waste. So in that way, we make that also much, much more important. We are also biking in our city. We have 425 kilometers of biking streets in the city. 40% of all our citizens are using the bike for all the transports, everyday transports. And that means that you must make the biking very safe, very comfortable. And when you build the cities, it's very important that the city is comfortable and safe and nice for pedestrians. For those biking, the cars can go a little more distance away from it. So this makes the city much more livable, and that's what it is about. The city is a meeting place for people, meeting place from people from different countries. I have 174 different nationalities living in my city, speaking more than 100 languages. We say that not everyone speaks Swedish fluently, but there is no language in the world that one doesn't speak fluently. So in that way, we also try to enhance to be this open city. And of course, what we are doing in our city, that's important for the impression from ourselves and our citizens. But of course, what we are doing, all the cities together in the world, that will have the impact on climate change. And as the mayor from Portland said, climate change and biodiversity, that's two sides of the same coin. We must try to enhance both of these. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, from all four, I'm sure you'll agree, some exceptional insights there and some real passion. But I'm just wondering what happens after a conference like this, where you all get together and share best practices and go away galvanized. And then you go back to fiscal austerity, to governments that have, frankly, no money, and city budgets are under pressure. How do you communicate your passion for this topic in the face of stern-faced treasurers telling you that there's no money to spend on a project, say, that has a payback in 20 or 30 years? Go ahead.
For instance, with the waste, 20 years ago, to get the electricity and heat water, we used 173 cubic meters of crude oil. That today is exchanged to the waste. That means that 1.4 billion Hong Kong dollars is not used for buying oil every year.
I think that it is this collaboration between cities and be organized with the Secretariat in the C40 or in Eurocities can secure that we are investing our money on the right way, making the right feasibility. Like Bloomberg said, we have to, what works, what doesn't. And that's what we want in Copenhagen, to invite you to be a part of an international laboratory for the right investments in green solutions. And Copenhagen has a very good economy for the moment. We're not so influenced by the financial crisis. So we can use a lot of our investments these years, but we have to secure that we invest the taxpayers' money on the right way. That's why we are going to make these very important feasibility studying, what works, what doesn't.
I appreciate the question. In the United States, politically speaking, there is one word that matters at this moment in time, and that's jobs. In the United States, we have been suffering for a few years now from unusually high and persistent unemployment, and Americans are not acclimated to that. That is a relatively new phenomenon for the current generation of leadership. So jobs is what everything is about. Now, fortunately, we in Portland feel like we are comparatively well positioned because, well, really on two fronts. Historically, the recession in the United States was caused by primarily real estate getting out of control and the lending of dollars to support unsustainable real estate development. In Portland, because we wrapped ourselves in an urban growth boundary, much like the Northern European countries have done, we did not see the same kind of sprawl that Ramel reflected that is common in the United States. So our regulatory structure helped us, indirectly albeit, but helped us reduce the impacts, the negative impacts of the current recession. To the current situation and to the future, more specifically to your question, we, the City of Portland, have focused our economic development strategy on clean technology. We have 4 key areas of economic development where we concentrate our resources, And one of those four is clean technology. So, for example, Portland is home to a Danish firm, Vestas, for example, the world's largest manufacturer of wind turbines. Portland aggressively competed to be the North American headquarters for Vestas. We believe that that's an example of where the economy is headed. So we believe that environmental protection and economic prosperity are one and the same, and that is where Portland is focused. That has served us well, and that will serve us well in the future.
You know, I kind of look at it a couple of ways. One is, what can you do in the immediate? How do you translate the work that we're doing around climate change and energy efficiency into the language that resonates to those who look at budgets in cities? And to many, I mean, what we've learned is that when we talk about energy efficiency, folks don't see the savings as actually affecting the budget. So how do you translate this as a revenue infusion into a city budget? Because, you know, we have to work in a very practical way. I mean, we certainly have our future goals around clean technology and us creating a clean tech corridor and our work around many of our buildings and these innovative technologies. But when we're at a crisis right now in Los Angeles, when we're going to look at about close to $500 million deficit in the next year, that's the immediate crisis that we have to look. And there's this tremendous opportunity to say, look, we have this opportunity of saving $50 million just in your electricity bill, because for a city, we can't not pay our electricity bill. So we have to look at those elements of practicality. And then the other piece to it, too, is that the investments that we make, because we do own some of our larger proprietary agencies, the port, airport, and utility, we have the opportunity to invest in new technology, almost operate like a venture capitalist, and look at opportunities to do that investment, because there is some tremendous return on that.
Okay, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening. And I'm sure you'll be a very worthwhile session.